Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman,
Has God indeed said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
One very interesting thing to note is the serpent spoke to the woman, not to the man with her. Why? The passage doesn't say why, but based on the conversation and what we already know so far, we can deduce the reason why. The serpent said to the woman, Has God indeed said? Translation: Did God really say you should not eat of this tree? Did God really say you should not eat of this tree? The Bible tells us that after the Creator formed the woman from the rib of the man, the Creator did not name her as he did with Adam, but instead he brought her to the man, and it was the man who named her and told the woman where she was taken from. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Just as the Creator brought the animals to the man for him to name them and rule over them, the Creator also brought the woman to the man for him to name her, talk to her, and inform her about everything she needs to know and wants to know about the garden. Since the Creator brought the woman to the man for him to name her and tell her who she was, a woman, and what she was, flesh of my flesh, we can infer from this that the Creator did not tell the woman about the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It was left to the man to tell her all the rules of the garden. So, here comes the reason why the serpent spoke to the woman and not to the man. It was to plant the seed of doubt in the mind of the woman against the words of the man. The beast was attempting to diminish the value of the man in the eyes of his woman. The beast was undermining the man's leadership in the eyes of the woman. For if you start doubting the words of the leader, then you start losing respect for him. And if you start losing respect, then why accept him as your leader, as your head? Why not become strong and independent like him? That is why the beast talked to the woman and asked the woman this deceptive question. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden? Translation: Did you hear it directly from God? Or did Adam say that you should not touch of the tree? Could it be that Adam, the man, is trying to suppress you and limit your actions? Could it be that the man Adam is an oppressive patriarchy trying to keep you down from being your full self, from experiencing life and doing whatever you want to in the garden, whatever feels good? The serpent knew that the woman was created last, and she was given as a helper to the man. Therefore, the man was the one to tell her about everything that he needed help with, about everything concerning the garden, even about the names of the animals, because the man gave name to the animals. That was his responsibility as the leader, to tell the woman what to do and what not to do in the garden based on the commandment of the Creator given to him. The serpent wanted to drive a wedge between them by sowing the seed of doubt in the mind of the woman, by attacking the man through his emotional weakness made flesh, by hitting him below the belt, as the expression goes. This method and tactic the serpent used to seduce Eve and Adam through Eve are still being used today on all of us, their children's children after them. For we still have the same male and female natures, with the same weaknesses that our parents, Adam and Eve, had. For this seduction method uses our human emotional nature against us. Therefore, many people still fall victim to it. And both men and women are behaving in the exact same way the first men and women behaved after they were seduced by the serpent beast. And that's why many relationships break apart. The purpose of this channel, therefore, is to try to open the eyes of the blind to this reality, to truth, to help people realize that we, as a human race, a human family, are still victims of this seduction from Genesis. And we are still being seduced and emotionally manipulated by the serpent beast to break up our relationships by fighting each other for any little thing. We are in a fight for survival against the beast kingdom. For our fight is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. The first men and women were innocent and lacking in knowledge of good and evil. But it's no longer the case today, especially in our modern society of mass media everywhere. Many may lack in wisdom and good judgment, but not in knowledge of good and evil. Mass media is blasting this knowledge every single hour of every day to our eyes and ears. For there is always something good or bad being reported in the news. Therefore, our chosen method of trying to open the eyes of the blind and unplug the ears of the deaf mute is by doing teachings, commentaries, reviews, criticisms, and advices on relationship between men and women, relationship between male and female, and relationship between families, relationships between nations, and relationships between people from a biblical perspective, using the biblical text given to us from Genesis to Revelation as our main reference. We will make use of scientific findings and research to show that how science confirms what is written in the Bible concerning our male and female natures, how that we are still humans and still have male and female natures and behave according to our male and female natures. The ultimate goal is to encourage every single man and woman everywhere to pursue wisdom, understanding, and good judgment as weapons and shields for the fight, and to learn how to live better lives in harmony, love, and satisfaction with each other as men and women, and build strong families and communities just as the Creator intended it. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and healthy. Until next time.
The Lord God said,
It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him.